Coming your way on Philadelphia 76ers now, we'll get to the latest on Kevin Durant. Does he want to play with James Harden again? We'll pass along a Kevin Durant trade idea. If Philadelphia wanted to move the needle, go all in and push their poker chips to the middle of the table. And also a beer shotgun for 8,000 subs because the people asked for it. Speaking of subscribing to the channel, if you're a real one, hit that red sub button if you want the best Sixers coverage on YouTube. And can we gain ground on New York Knicks now? New York, Philadelphia, great rivalry city to city, great rivalry on the floor, and a great rivalry inside the walls here at Chat Sports. My homie Marshall Green has done a great job building New York Knicks now. Now it's time to overtake them once again as we continue to ride the seesaw between both channels. YouTube.com/76ers TV. If you want to stay in the know with all things Sixers year-round, we got you covered. So the latest on Kevin Durant. In case you missed it, we talked about it on yesterday's show. High-ranking execs in the Philadelphia 76ers front office have discussed and are thinking about potentially making a Kevin Durant trade, according to Ian Begley of SNY. On the other end of that, according to Begley, Kevin Durant, on top of the Boston Celtics, also views Philadelphia as another desired landing spot. Now, early on, when he first made this trade request to the Brooklyn Nets front office, it was really the Miami Heat as well as the Phoenix Suns, but the Heat can't include Bam Adebayo because of that rookie clause. Ben Simmons would have to get traded, and then the Suns re-up with DeAndre Ayton, so he can't be used as a trade chip either. Now, a lot of you watching right now are probably saying this: Kevin Durant, James Harden, they played with one another with the Brooklyn Nets as well as way back in the day with the Oklahoma City Thunder after the Thunder had drafted James Harden after he took down Temple University in the NCAA tournament. How about that for a throwback? Aren't they not on good terms? Aren't they not cool? Are they not friends any longer? It seems as though that Harden and KD are on good terms, and they are cool. They were just in London together at the Travis Scott concert. That's KD to the right, and then James Harden with the green, white, and black pants, and then it's Travis Scott going nuts in what looks to be the tunnels of some type of arena or a stadium after the concert. So they were in London together, and they were actually sitting side by side in the stands taking on that Travis Scott concert. Astro World, what it do? Travis Scott, a pretty good rapper, and he's also good friends with Kevin Durant as well as James Harden. So they do have a relationship that goes all the way back to the Oklahoma City Thunder. Of course, KD wanted Harden to get traded to the Brooklyn Nets, and the experiment didn't work out in Brooklyn. There's no doubt about that. I don't think it was because of a tumultuous relationship between KD and the Beard. I think it was actually Kyrie Irving who set James Harden off, and that's why he asked out for Brooklyn. And maybe he saw the writing on the wall that this organization was not heading in the right direction. And it looks as though this is true. Frank Isola, a New York-based sports writer who's really tapped into that New York market, said in fact that Durant does want to play with James Harden. He took to Twitter to say this: they were in London together. Maybe Harden, an expert at forcing trades, is serving as an advisor. So a little bit of a shot there at the Beard. And then Isola continued with this: not sure the Sixers, who aren't trading Joel Embiid for Kevin Durant, have anything that the Nets would want. Now Jaylen Brown with the Celtics is another story. But if you're that Nets front office, led by Sean Marks, who currently has that job, and if KD comes back, maybe he will no longer have that post, you can make a trade that does help the Nets out, but I'm not sure it's a trade that moves the needle all that much if you want to rebuild. Because on top of trading Kevin Durant, if you do deal him away, one of the best offensive superstars that we've ever seen in the history of this great game, you trade KD, you're not rebuilding with Kyrie Irving, who opted in to that player option, meaning he has 1 year left on his contract. What then would happen is that the Nets would trade away Kyrie as well as KD and just go full-on rebuild mode. And I'm not sure that this package puts them on the right track to fully rebuild. You do get one of the best young superstars in this league in Tyrese Maxey, who continues to get better seemingly by the day, but does Tobias Harris move the needle and persuade you into making a deal? Matisse Thybulle's a great defender, two-time all-NBA defender in 3 years since getting drafted in the first round out of Washington, but he has his shortcomings offensively, and you're not including draft compensation in this trade either. So I put this in the trade machine. It does work out financially because of that Tobias Harris contract and Tyrese Maxey being the blue chipper in this acquisition. But I think you need to add more players, which the 76ers don't really have, and more draft picks, which they don't have because they gave them away in exchange for Harden in that deal that sent away the fraud Ben Simmons. So who do you think wins this trade before we continue to keep it humming here on today's show? Give me a 76 for the 76ers, BKN for the Brooklyn Nets. I want to hear from all of you right now in the comment section. As for why the Sixers might entertain making the deal, Harden, Embiid, KD. That is one of the most gifted trios that we would ever see in the history of the NBA. They would in fact be scary, especially offensively, but KD and Embiid defensively would also be tantalizing against opponents. Durant is also still a top 5 guy, and you can make the argument he's a top 3 player. I think that top 3 list, you can kind of mess around with it. I'm going Giannis, Steph Curry, and then is it LeBron James? Is it Kevin Durant? Either way, KD is a top 5 player still at 34 years old. Durant also helps your title window and allows you to contend truly right now. I think the Sixers roster is in a really good spot, but with Kevin Durant, he's a walking bucket. He's box office. He's so special. He puts you in that title contention window immediately and would make the Sixers one of the favorites to bring back the Larry O.B. And then you also win titles nowadays, in my opinion, with elite wings. And right now, the Sixers don't have that. I think outside of the Golden State Warriors, who have been led by Steph Curry and Klay Thompson during their dynastic run of going to 6 NBA Finals over the last 8 years, they did have Kevin Durant during that span. That's an elite wing. Kawhi Leonard, Kobe Bryant, LeBron James. The list goes on and on and on. You win titles nowadays, in my opinion, with elite wings, and the Sixers are kind of bereft of that because Tobias Harris and KD aren't on the same level. And Durant also, lastly, helps out Joel Embiid. The 1-2 punch and the two-man game of Embiid and Durant, I think that they could give you between 60, 70, 75 points on any given night. Why you wouldn't make the deal, and this is kind of where I lean toward. Tyrese Maxey is a growing star, and to lose him, that'd be a huge blow to this entire organization, considering the development that's taken place and the potential that he has. Maxey is 21 years old. He has the right attitude, a great brain in between his ears that allows him and has led to him just getting in the lab and improving upon his offensive arsenal. And it'd be tough to give up on that potential that I think is superstar-like potential. Also, Kevin Durant, he's 34 years old. He's a little bit older. He's not getting any younger, that's for sure. And he's a little bit injury-prone. Over the last couple of years, those injuries have racked up. And even early in his career, he did suffer some severe injuries to places like his feet, which at his size is a little bit troublesome. And as constructed right now, I do think the Sixers are legit in the Eastern Conference. It's going to be a really good arms race. Boston Celtics, Milwaukee Bucks, Miami Heat. But the Sixers are right there in that equation. Have some of the moves that they've made, P.J. Tucker, Daniel House, trading for DeAnthony Melton, have those moves made them better this year, and are they a little bit deeper than last year's team? I think so. Now, are they legit enough to legitimately win an NBA championship? I'm not sure. How do they stack up against the Golden State Warriors, the Los Angeles Clippers, the Milwaukee Bucks with Giannis, the Boston Celtics? I still think the Sixers might be on the outside looking in of that championship conversation. You trade for KD, that might change. My take has been and continues to be, Tyrese Maxey is damn near untouchable for me. If there's a player that I might consider trading him for, it would be Kevin Durant. But Maxey's potential is enormous. He's gotten so much better from year 1 to year 2. I think that he can break out further and be an all-star in year 3. And to give up on that potential and the personality of Tyrese Maxey, the energy that he brings, the fact that he can bail this offense out with that wiggle, putting the ball on the floor to create for himself and others, that's really, really valuable, and we saw his value last year in the playoffs. And also, the 76ers might not even have enough draft capital to even sway Brooklyn into making that trade, which is why at the end of the day, we could talk about Durant wanting to go go to Philadelphia and high-ranking executives wanting to trade for him, but it's Kevin Durant. If you're not having those conversations, if you're Daryl Morey, you're just not doing your job, and I don't think that the Sixers have enough assets to give up realistically to bring KD, and it might work out better because he's 34 years old, Tyrese Maxey is 21, and the arrow is certainly pointing up for Maxey's trajectory. Who would you rather have, though? Embrace debate, sound off in the comment section, and join the conversation down below. KD for Kevin Durant, TM for Tyrese Maxey. Once again, get that comment section popping. Now, if you're a real one, meaning that you go about your day as not being a stiff, not being a phony, not being a fraud, not being a schmuck, and you're subscribed to the channel and you just carry yourself like a real one, then comment Real One, but also Real One merchandise available right now. The Real One movement has been so real under the Chat Sports umbrella. I got in touch with the bosses and I said, you know what? So many people are commenting this. They love it so much. We got to make it into some t-shirts. So you can get those right now, chatsports.com/Real One. You saw some of the Sixers colors there in red, blue, black as well, but a whole bunch of colors if you just plug in that link at the bottom of your screen, chatsports.com/Real One. And there are a lot of real ones out there. 8,000 to be exact, because we just reached another milestone here on 76ers now. 8,000 subs and counting, but it's a mini milestone. We want to continue to grow, but we're going to celebrate this mini achievement. And earlier in the week, I had said we get to 8,000 subs, and to celebrate with my fellow Philadelphia homies, we're going to shotgun a beer. So, going to crack the beer here. Just spilled it all over my shirt. You never want to see that, but I carried it over here. So it was a little bit, shaken up. I'm not shaken up because I'm going to continue to keep it moving. Producer Sam Brown has the shot clock out. Now, I have been said to be one of the fastest shotgunners of beers in the history of the world, but I'm doing this. It's still morning time here in Dallas, Texas. Haven't had any lunch. I'm not making excuses. I'm just kind of setting the foundation. I'm going to impress you. So on the crack, Producer Sam Brown is going to start the shot clock, and we'll see how quickly I can do this shotgun. We're doing this for all the real ones who have subscribed. So just give me a second. Let me knock this out real quick. No, you don't have to count me down. We'll rock and roll with it. All right, here we go. What's the time?
A little spillage, but 3.47.
3.47. I've done better. My personal best is sub 3, but like I said, it's still the morning time, yet we're still partying with all of Philadelphia. Grade the shotgun for me in the comment section, A, B, C, D, or F. And if you want to show me some love and further support the channel for me sacrificing my body for you, there is a new function on YouTube where you can actually donate to us through the Super Thanks function, which is another way to donate and support the channel outside of what you might already know about, which is Super Chats, which you can only do on live shows. So if you want to show some love to the channel, continue to support everything that we do, YouTube has added the Super Thanks function. You see the heart icon with the $sign there? If you hit that, you can donate any dollar amount. Whoever sends us a Super Thanks, I guarantee you that on the next Philadelphia 76ers Now, I will give everybody who sends us a Super Thanks a shout out. Appreciate all of you for continuing to support everything that we do. And until next time, Philadelphia, we'll catch you.